In this tutorial, I like to show you how you can add a point light. And what I like to do is I like to make the image a little bit more interesting. I like to give the image a little bit more story. So what you can see here, you can see 3 people on a car, and what else you can see is this guy have some highlights here. I did that with the photography, with the lighting. I had a strobe here, it was coming from the corner to bring that highlights here on the person. And the reason was, I knew, when I did that picture, I knew I like to add later in Photoshop some big highlights here and a big point light. And let me show you now the technique, how you can do that. Okay, what many people do is they create a new blank layer. They choose a big brush, maybe the size of that. And then you can paint here the highlights in. And you can change the opacity a little bit. It's up to you. So what you can do is you can choose your move tool. You can move it around. So, well, this is not the best technique. You can see here a line, so it's not so perfect. So let me show you a better way. Of course, we need a new blank layer, and let's call that PL for point light. And what I like to do now is I choose my brush here, and I make the size of the brush very small. It's very important that you have a hardness of 0% here. And the only thing what I do is, let's make it a little bit bigger. The only thing what I do is I make a dot in the middle here. So what you can do now, I explained that in my old tutorials, you can change the blend mode maybe to overlay, and then you can move that spot around, the Photoshop spotlight. Whoa. So this is cool, but this is not the technique what I like to show you. So let's say the blend mode is normal. If you change the position here, well, it's a little bit too small, of course. And now here's the trick, the main thing, the main technique. Go to Edit, choose Free Transform, and press your Shift and Alt key and make that big. Very, very big. You can see it's very, very big. And now you can choose your Move tool, and you can bring that light into the corner here. Very soft, and that looks very good. So this was one thing. Now you're able to move that around, that light. And of course, you can also change the opacity. But what happens if you change the opacity? If you change the opacity, you change the opacity of the pixels. And what happened then is everything gets gray. This looks not good. This looks very flat. Take a look. Before, after, very grain, ugly, not good. And let me show you now something what many professional retouchers do not know. If you change the blend mode of this blank layer to linear dodge, everything is the same. If you change the opacity, everything is the same. Everything looks gray and flat, not so good. But if you change the fill, you will change the opacity of the pixels, but the blend mode will stay in the image. Take a look at the big difference. I change the fill and take a look. Now you can see every detail here in the corner, and it looks much, much better. Let me show you the difference. Change the opacity, gray, ugly, ugh. But if you change the fill, whoa, beautiful. And now you can play around here with the light. And of course, you can change both of these options. You can also change the opacity a little bit. Maybe you like to have it a little bit more flat, no problem. But give them a try, play around with these two, opacity and fill. Many instructors or retouchers do only know the difference between fill and opacity for the layer styles. Of course, there's also a difference, but there is also a difference in the linear dodge blend mode. And right there, you can use that for your advantage, okay? So if you add a light, try this way, and you will get a much better, more realistic result. And this is something what I do very often. And then I can play around here how much light I like to have. Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed that, and give them a try.